ute. Happy Friday to you everybody. Tvtimsweden med er igen, som alltid. Det var länge sedan jag sa det, va? Hur som helst, här ska ni få höra. Först vill jag faktiskt tacka för alla härliga mejl och kommentarer gällande min Köpenhamnstripp. Och också då liven igår. Det var jättetrevligt med Johan och Thomas Jutanevesen. Nu ska ni få höra. Jag har gjort här ett avsnitt om Trump. Man blir kär i Trump när man ser det här. Morsan och Jane och Hanna och Jenny och ni andra. Ni kommer bli kär i Trump när ni ser det här nu. Så jag har lyckats klippa ihop någonting som jag tycker är så underbart bra. Om jag blir rödad så till den milda grad att det kommer upp så här, du får inte sända det här kommer inte att bli godkänt, bla bla bla. För upphovsrättsgrejer då, för att det syns CNN-loggar lite så här. Då lägger jag bara det här snacket som ni hör nu, och det ligger länken där nere till Swebtube, då lägger jag ut det där, för de tar väl i alla fall inte bort Trump-grejer. Det här är något helt, alltså det är så underbart så att det är det här jag vill att alla ska se i skolorna i Sverige, på college, gymnasier, universitet och så vidare. SVT, TV4 borde visa mitt jäkla avsnitt här om Trump. Och det ska vara på första sidan på Aftonbladet, Expressen, överallt. Då har det folk fattat. Den här killen är den enda som begriper. Han pratar om hur farligt det är med kärnkraften. Vad håller ni på med? Jag har det löst där på 24 timmar. Det är en annan sak. Om man hade klarat det eller inte. Han pratar om vindkraftverken, hur hemskt det är. Jag har en deposition här där han sitter och totalt hånar en vidrig åklagarkärring som sitter och frågar ut honom om det här så kallade rape-grejen. När han skulle ha våldtagit en kvinna som han aldrig har träffat. Han blev ju frikänd för det, men dömd till $5 miljoner i böter, vilket kommer att avskrivas, men det är en annan story det med. Men när man ser Newsmax här förklara om townhallet på CNN, och man ser exempel på vad Trump gör med den här stackars tjejen som har fått ett uppdrag av CNN, och de maler vad hon ska säga i örat, och han bara köttar för han är proffs på det här. Publiken jublar för det här är en independent konservativ, jag sa fel häromdagen, en independent konservativ publik de har fått dit, trots att CNN-publiken, den vanliga, är ju väldigt woke och vänsterlib i alla fall. Och sen är det då en annan intervju med Trump som kommer här i, där han pratar just om det här med politiken, med ekonomin, med inflationen, med vindkraften, med kärnkraften, och alltså det är så extremt viktigt att se det här i sin helhet. Jag tycker att det här är mitt bästa Trump-avsnitt jag har fått ihop faktiskt. Helt lysande. Det är inte så himla svårt egentligen, men man måste ju titta ut det man vill visa, klippa och få ihop det så det blir snyggt och bra i alla fall, va? Så att kolla på det här, njut av helgen, positivity. Glöm inte ert plus sign så ni mår bra allihopa där ute. Lite citron ska ni pressa i vattnet. Lite äppelcidervinäger i ett annat glas innan frukost om ni känner för det. Det blir bra för syrorna i kistan och så vidare. Det här ska bli en fantastisk helg. Nu kör vi. Trump. Trump for president 2024.
So last night did not go well for Caitlin Collins. It didn't go well for CNN or really anybody at that network. This is Trump's backyard. This is his bailiwick. If last night shows us anything at all, this is what Trump needs to do. You go into enemy territory and you drop bombs. Donald Trump does his best when he's in a fight. Every liberal news network, find them, agree to interviews, go on The View, Rachel Maddow, whatever, I don't care, just get in the left's hair, get in their weeds, get in their backyard, do what you do best. It was epic last night. I want him to challenge every one of their narratives, take no prisoners. This is what the people came out in droves for. This is how we won in 2016. Don't take anything from everyone, punch back, and keep punching until your opponent is sitting there wondering, like, what the heck just happened to me? Donald Trump last night made Caitlin Collins look like the worst.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's the
mind?
answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to, you're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
Zero you-know-whats is what he gave. He effectively told Caitlin Collins and the entire left-wing establishment to shut up. And honestly, probably the biggest audience CNN has enjoyed in at least the last 4 years was sitting at home saying, thank God someone did something. People are so tired of being lectured by these libs through selective talking points. Let the man answer the question. The best part, though, today, a bunch of CNN employees and journalists over there are actually talking about how mad they are that the network gave him a platform or gave hate a platform, whatever they're saying. But people watched, millions. Collins drove right into the Liz Cheney's favorite thing. That was the January 6th stuff. Trump set the record straight.
Crazy Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington were in charge, as you know, of security, and they did not do their job.
They're not in charge of the National Guard. You're in charge of the National Guard.
Well, I offered them National Guard. I said, we'll give you soldiers, we'll give you National Guard, we'll give you whatever you want. And they turned me down.
You're acting
and in fact,
defense
she turned me down.
secretary.
She turned me down in writing.
This is not their regular show where they can just say whatever they want. Try again, Caitlin. I'm sure Collins is like, but, these are not the talking points they gave me. My man even brought receipts.
When they went to the Capitol and they were breaking into the Capitol, smashing windows, injuring police officers, why did it take you 3 hours to tell them to go home?
I don't believe it did. Oh, let me pull it out. I have to pull it out. So if you look at, on January 5th, the day before, I said, please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful. I am asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. This is right after, as it was happening. But what happened is they took it down. I don't know why. I think they took it down because it was so good. We want no violation. We want no violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you.
And you know what people hate more than anything? Waffling politicians and non-answers. So many politicians do this. Trump said what he means, and he means what he says. However imperfectly you might think he articulates it, the guy is genuine. Of course, CNN couldn't resist the urge to bring up the recent kangaroo court case with Jean Carroll. That backfired again.
A Manhattan jury found that you sexually abused the writer E. Jean Carroll and defamed her. You've denied this. But what do you say to voters who say it disqualifies you from being president?
Well, there aren't too many of them because my poll numbers just came out. They went up. Okay. This woman, I don't know her. I never met her. I have no idea who she is. Her dog or her cat was named Vagina. The judge wasn't allowed to put that in.
Just eviscerated these people. Every time she started looking ridiculous, she would pivot, though. Watch this.
I don't want to lie.
Mr. President, we have a lot of questions.
Here's what she wants
Mr.
me to say.
President, let's get to the audience.
Every time. Her producers were sitting there rolling their eyes like, oh, thank God we had an audience to bail out on. But they waded into something I never thought they would because it's a huge negative for their guy, Joe Biden. The economy, specifically energy prices.
Over the past 2 years, we have seen the prices for everything skyrocket. From food to gas to utilities and insurance costs, many people's bills are up several $100s a month, including mine. If elected president again, what is the first thing you would do to help bring down the cost to make things more affordable?
Drill, baby, drill.
Hard. You know how many folks at home, Democrats included in this, whatever, independents, Republicans alike, we're sitting there thinking like, well, yeah, actually, I'll take $1.87 or $1.87 gas right now and maybe a mean tweet.
You think the U.S. should default if the White House does not agree to the spending cuts Republicans are demanding?
Well, you might as well do it now because you'll do it later. Because we have to save this country. Our country is dying. Our country is being destroyed by stupid people, by very stupid people.
You once said that using the debt ceiling as a negotiating wedge just could not happen. You said that when you were in the Oval Office.
That's when I was president.
So why is it different now that you're out of office?
Because now I'm not president.
Mic drop. This is his wheelhouse. You cannot go toe-to-toe with him on stuff like this. And this is exactly what the media doesn't understand. This guy was president for 4 years. Remember that. He knows all these issues better than anyone else.
Do you agree with deploying troops to the border? And how will a Trump administration slow down the rate of migrants coming across all our borders?
Sure. A very fair question, especially since tomorrow is going to be a day of infamy. These people are sick. Anybody that wants this to happen to our country, they're destroying our country. I built hundreds of miles of wall. If we didn't have it, it would be hard to believe it could be any worse. They're just letting people flow into our country. Look, A country has to have borders.
I mean, this was a wide-ranging town hall. They hit everything, ranging from border to his personal stuff. And keep in mind, Trump's nearly 80 years old. This guy came out with more energy than me. Certainly more than he did in 2016. He stuck to his guns. He has a backbone. He says what he means, and he means what he says. And that alone was enough to keep Collins on her heels this entire time. It was beautiful. This was a carefully vetted audience by CNN, mind you. And he had standing ovations. He even had the audience laughing at times, some of which weren't on his side in the beginning. Even the entire CNN team in her ear, with all their access to feed her information, to Google this and fact check that, Trump still wiped the floor with her. Maybe that's why they ended the town hall like 20 minutes earlier than scheduled.
When you said in that video that Ms. Leeds would not be your first choice, you were referring to her physical looks, correct?
Just the overall, I look at her, I see her, I hear what she says, whatever. You wouldn't be a choice of mine either, to be honest with you. I hope you're not insulted. I would not, under any circumstances, have any interest in you. I'm honest when I say it. I would not have any interest in.
The video we just watched, where you talked about Ms. Leeds. What else did you know about Ms. Leeds that would indicate to you that she would not have been your first choice, other than how she looked?
I don't know. I think I probably saw her on television or something. But I don't want to be insulting. But when people accuse me of something, I think I have a right to be insulting because they're insulting me. They're doing the ultimate insult. They make up stories, and then I'm not allowed to speak my mind. No, I disagree with that. No, she would not have been anywhere on a list. I just wouldn't have been for me.
Now,
it's disgusting. It's what she said was disgusting.
When you said that Ms. Carroll was not your type, you meant that she was not your type physically, right?
I saw her in a picture. I didn't know what she looked like. And I said it, and I say it with as much respect as I can, but she is not my type.
And again, when you say type, you just refer to looking at photos. So you mean physically she's not your type?
Physically, she's not my type. And now that I've gotten indirectly to hear things about her, she wouldn't be my type in any way, shape, or form.
But when you were talking back on June 24th, you were referring to her not being your type physically.
I saw a photo of her.
Okay.
And the only difference between me and other people is I'm honest. She's not my type.
Now, when you say in here, I don't know this woman and have no idea who she is, even though you're using the present tense, you're referring back to your knowledge as of when she first made the allegation.
I still don't know this woman. I think she's a whack job. I have no idea. I don't know anything about this woman other than what I read in stories and what I hear. I know nothing about her.
Okay, well, I guess the distinction I'm trying to make, sir, is that when the allegation came out in 2019, you said I think it's your testimony that you had no idea who she was.
I still don't.
Well, today you at least know that she's a plaintiff in a case suing you, correct?
Oh, yes, that I know.
Okay.
But I know nothing about her. I think she's sick, mentally sick.
Okay. You say in this post, you use a strange word, which I want to ask you about. You say she completely made up a story that I met her at the doors of this crowded New York City department store and within minutes swooned her. Do you see that?
Yeah.
What does swoon for me?
That would be a word, maybe accurate or not, having to do with talking to her and talking to her to do an act that she said happened, which didn't happen. And it's a nicer word than the word that starts with an F. And this would be a word that I use because I thought it would be inappropriate to use the other word. And it didn't happen.
Okay, I was curious when I read this, so I looked up the word swoon in the dictionary. And under the dictionary, it means to faint with extreme emotion. That's not what you meant here.
Objection to form.
Well, sort of. That's what she said I did to her. She fainted with great emotion. She actually indicated that she loved it. Okay, she loved it until commercial break. In fact, I think she said it was sexy, didn't she? It was very sexy to be raped. Didn't she say that?
So, sir, I just want to confirm, it's your testimony that E. Jean Carroll said that she loved being sexually assaulted by you?
Well, based on her interview with Anderson Cooper, I believe that's what took place. We can define that. You'll have to show that. I'm sure you're going to show that. But she was interviewed by Anderson Cooper, and I think she said that rape was sexy, which it's not, by the way. But I think she said that rape was sexy, and she actually said things that were very strange. And then she was a different person when he said, we'll take a break right now. We're going to take a break right now. He didn't like what she was saying. He was very upset with and then she came back and she was a much different woman in the second half, so to speak.
And so the question I'm asking you is, did she say in that interview that she loved being sexually assaulted by you?
Well, she said something to that effect. I mean, you'll have to take a look at the interview yourself. I believe she said rape was sexy, to which Anderson Cooper is dying. He's saying, let's get to a commercial break immediately. I think you better watch the interview. I'm sure you have, but you better watch the interview.
In the interview, when Ms. Carroll talked about rape being sexy, isn't it true that she said that's a view that many other people hold?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. All I know is I believe she said rape is sexy or something to that effect, but you have to watch the interview. It's been a while.
And just to clarify, I think you said a few minutes earlier that you used the word swooned as a synonym for, you said the F word, for sexual intercourse?
Yeah. Okay. That's because that's what she said.
What do you mean? She never used the word swooned.
No, she said that I did something to her that never took place. There was no anything. I know nothing about this nut job.
Okay, then you go on to say in the statement, and while I am not supposed to say it, I will. Why were you not supposed to say it?
Because it's not politically correct to say. Read the next, go ahead. That she's not my type? Yeah, because it's not politically correct to say it, and I know that, but I'll say it anyway. She's accusing me of rape. A woman that I have no idea who she is. It came out of the blue. She's accusing me of rape, of raping her. The worst thing you can do, the worst charge. And you know it's not true too. You're a political operative also. You're a disgrace. But she's accusing me, and so are you, of rape, and it never took place. And I will tell you, I made that statement, and I said, while it's politically incorrect, she's not my type. And that's 100% true. She's not my type.
In your True Social statement on October 12, you use the word hoax. Specifically, you say, it is a hoax and a lie, just like all the other hoaxes that have been played on me for the past 7 years. Do you see that?
Yeah.
I recall making that statement. And I take it what you're saying there is Ms. Carroll fabricated her claim that you sexually assaulted her, correct?
Yes, totally. 100%.
Now, fair to say, you'd agree with me, would you not, that you use the term hoax quite a lot?
Yes, I do.
CNN reported that you used it more than 250 times in 2020. Does that sound right to you?
Could be. I've had a lot of hoaxes played on me. This is one of them.
And how would you define the word hoax?
A fake story, a false story, a made-up story.
Something that's not true.
Something that's not true, yes.
Sitting here today, can you recall what else you have referred to as a hoax?
Sure. The Russia hoax. It's been proven to be a hoax. Ukraine hoax. The Mueller situation for 2.5 years hoax. Ended in no collusion. It was a whole big hoax. The lying to the FISA court hoax. The lying to Congress many times hoax by all these people, this scum that we have in our country. Lying to Congress, hoax. spying on my campaign hoax. They spied on my campaign, and now they admit it. That was another hoax, and I could get a whole list of them. And this is a hoax too.
This, when you say this and that,
This ridiculous situation that we're doing right now. It's a big fat hoax. She's a liar, and she's a sick person, in my opinion, really sick. Something wrong with her. You never heard of a problem with Taiwan, and you never heard of a problem with Ukraine just 3 years ago. If we use nuclear, that makes up for a lot of loss. That's what will happen. And so it's very dangerous. Now we have massive inflation. We have tremendous problems. I mean, supply chain problem. We have every problem you can have. Everything was perfect. We had the perfect mix of everything. And we have very weak leadership. We have incompetent leadership. We have leadership that doesn't understand that this is something that can happen. We have leadership that doesn't hear other people when they talk about it. And they don't get it. We have incompetent leaders. This would never happen. All of the things that we had. You know, energy is a thing that caused inflation. When they closed up the energy, the cost of energy, the cost of a tank of gasoline, it went up to $5, $6, $7, $8 in some places. And it's still very high. We have to take care of our country, but we've never as a country been in the danger that we're in right now. You have other countries, and in particular Russia, but other countries talking the N-word, which is the nuclear word in this case, and you can't use that term. We have those abandoned wind farms. They look like junkyards. And remember, those windmills, many of them are very bad looking to start off. Some have a better design, but they start to rust, they start to rot. And in a certain number of years, they get abandoned. And they say, let's go to another location. No, it's like, it's a very, very expensive form of energy. And we have to get rid of nuclear weapons. You know, one of the things I was going to do, and I would have done, is the denuking of everything, the denuclearization of everything, because you have to take them away. You have to get rid of and Russia would have done it, and China would have done it. I used to talk to Putin about it. He loved the idea of doing it. Interest rates, we have very high interest rates now. It's really clogging up. I mean, it's really causing a big problem. You're going to have a big recession very soon.
Because there's two N-words, right?
There are two N-words, right? There's
Which one's worse?
They're both real bad, but you can't use the nuclear word. You just can't do it. And if you do it, nobody used it during my term because it's so devastating. It's so horrible. If you look at the power of weaponry, the power of nuclear weapons, and all of a sudden now everybody's using it. It's like become just a common part of every speech. And that leads to very bad things. Our country has never been in the danger it's been in. We don't have ammunition. I don't know if you know that. You've been reading. You guys really keep up on it, but we have very little ammunition. I gave them a brand new, beautiful military loaded up with ammunition, and we've given much of the ammunition away to Ukraine and other places. And we're very vulnerable right now. We're very vulnerable. And now on top of everything else, we're supposed to go over to Taiwan and help them. You know, at some point, we're going to have to defend ourselves, and we're going to have to make sure that things are going along. You never heard of a problem with Taiwan, and you never heard of a problem with Ukraine just 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's like incredible to see this happening. Putin would have never, ever in a million years gone into Ukraine. And President Xi of China would have never, ever. He never talked about it. He wouldn't have done it. And I had conversations with both of them about those subjects, Taiwan and Ukraine, respectively. And I will tell you, there was no way they would have done Taiwan or Ukraine. This wouldn't have happened. And now it's almost happening routinely. These people talking about global warming, where the ocean will rise by 1/100th of an inch over the next 350 years, where it's going to get a little bit warmer or a little bit cooler. They don't know. You know, it used to be global warming.
They don't talk about it as much, though.
No, they don't talk. No,
Al Gore went into hiding or something.
Well, no, now they call it climate change because they said it's going to get warmer. It was getting colder. Then it was going to get colder. It's getting warmer. You know, they used to say global cooling because they thought the world was going to freeze. That was in the 1920s. They had a thing, global cooling. Then it went to global warming, but that wasn't working. So now they go to climate change because that covers everything. But your real global warming would be nuclear global warming. That's a warming that will take seconds. And that's a warming that will melt granite. You know what granite is? It's a very powerful, very hard stone. If you take a look at Hiroshima, or Hiroshima as a lot of people call it, Nagasaki, where they used nuclear in a very primitive form, it actually took granite, large areas of granite, and melted it. And now it's like an ice skating rink. It melted into virtual water. And now when it hardened, it was absolutely stone cold level. It melted granite. You could hit granite with a blowtorch and it won't even do anything to it. So you're talking about a level of power, a level of heat, a level of destruction. Nobody talks about that. They talk about global warming. It's sick. And we have to get rid of nuclear weapons. You know, one of the things I was going to do and I would have done is the denuking of everything, the denuclearization of everything, because you have to take them away. You have to get rid of and Russia would have done it and China would have done it. I used to talk to Putin about it. He loved the idea of doing it. A professor at MIT, and I believe he was the longest serving professor in the history of MIT. He was there for almost 40 years, Dr. John Trump. And he would tell me about the power of nuclear, and I sort of wouldn't believe it. And he was right. The power is so massive. It's so incredibly powerful. But everybody said, because of this power, nobody will use it, because they're assuming that people are sane. Somebody will use it. And when they use it, it will be devastation like never seen before. But the theory on nuclear is that it's so powerful that no person will ever use it. But that's assuming that people are sane. Or it's assuming that people win wars because, you know, you're not going to use it. But if you're going to lose a war, you'll say, hey, we're losing the war. If we use nuclear, that makes up for a lot of loss. That's will happen. And so it's very dangerous. But the theory was that nobody would ever use it because of the power, because of the destructive capability of nuclear. And the fact is that there are people out there right now, there are countries out there right now, the leaders and the leadership, and I know a lot of them, they would use it. If forced, they would use it. And once it gets used, the world as you know it will end. What's worse? And this can take place in seconds. This isn't in 300 years from now. And the radical left never likes talking about it, and they should talk about it. And other countries know exactly what I'm talking about, and they would get rid of a lot of their nuclear weapons or their nuclear weapons. You have to do it. It's a level of danger that the world has never seen before, and people don't talk about it.
What's so strategic about Taiwan?
Well,
like, why are we?
It's 90% of the chips. You know about chips better than most people.
Yeah.
You deal in chips, but 90% of the chips and the toughest ones, the most intricate ones, they're made in. And you know, look, they took a lot of business away from us. In all fairness, I do ask. They make tremendous amounts of money in Taiwan, and I do say, well, if we're going to defend a country, aren't we supposed to be at least partially reimbursed?
Yeah.
Because they did take our chip industry, much of it, almost all of it, and they now are, they make approximately 90% of the world's chips. So that's a big thing, because you start throwing bombs in there and start blowing up those factories and labs where they make the chips. That's going to be a big world problem. There are a lot of problems, but you know, the United States cannot do everything. And we're in a very bad position. We're in a very vulnerable position because they've given so much, so fast to Ukraine that we're in a very bad defensive position. We have to build up our ammunition. Who would think that we were loaded to the gills with ammunition and everything, and we've given up so much. And now on top of it, we're supposed to go 9,000 miles away. You know, we're 9,000 miles away from, as you know, from Taiwan, 9,000, and they're 90 miles away. This is little difference. It's a very, very expensive form of energy. And solar's not powerful enough. If you look at solar, but it's just not big enough. And here we're sitting on the greatest amount of liquid gold, oil and gas, anywhere in the world. And we have it. And we're going to Venezuela now to get it. We're going all over and we have it. We're sitting on it. And now they want to make all electric cars where the batteries are made exclusively by minerals and other things that are in China and other places that China, like the Congo, that China sort of controls, okay? And almost nothing comes out of the United States. It's almost as if they truly hate our country. It's very sad what's happening to our country, but the biggest thing that's happening and the scariest thing that's happening is that we've never been in a position where we're more vulnerable because of the incredible power of weaponry. And other countries have these weapons. You know, in many ways, we're no longer a democracy. When you look at what's happening in this, they've weaponized our justice system. They've done things that were unthinkable. I say we don't have a free press. Look what happened to our show the last time we did a show. Mm-hmm. You had the biggest show, you had the biggest hits, you were setting records, and they took you down.
And we were wondering why us, because you have other stuff on YouTube, press, right?
But
you have
you
like Fox News interviews.
I do.
We feel like we were targeted for that.
Well, I think they targeted because it was a certain point in time, but they'll probably do it again. Let's see. Will they take this show down? Maybe, then maybe. But I love that you stuck to your guns. You said we will not change it. I think you could have probably taken certain of the things that I said and that we said together out. But you stuck, so now we'll give it another shot.
No, we couldn't.
This will be a big show. This will be even bigger. We have to put America first. Another one that came out, America first. We never put America first. We have politicians that put America last. I think Biden puts America last. It's a real problem.
What do you think? Because it seems like now that the country's more divided than it's ever been. So what would be steps to unify?
Well, I think Biden is a tremendous divisive factor.
He's a divider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a divider. It's, he came in the basis from his basement saying that, going to bring the country together. Or his people wrote lines, they're going to bring the country together. No, I think the country is more divided now than it's ever been. I've never seen anything like it. I thought Obama was a big divider too, but I think this is worse.
Do you think that we're becoming like a third world country where we're going after like former leaders? Like a banana republic?
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's what they do in third world countries. They go after former leaders so they can't come back. I have people investigating me over nothing, over things like the boxes hoax. And we had a DA from New York who campaigned, and an AG in New York, campaigned on I will get Trump. But they investigate me over things that Biden has been horrible with. He's broken every law, every regulation in the book, every single regulation in the book. Nobody talks about that because it's called election interference.
Everyone sees it now, though.
They see it. Oh, they see it. Well, we have incompetent leaders. This would never happen. All of the things that we have, you wouldn't have inflation because we had energy, very inexpensive energy. We had energy independence, soon to have energy dominance. We would have been selling to Europe. We would have been selling all over the world. We were bigger. When I left, we were #1 in the world at energy. Natural gas, oil and natural gas. We were filling up the strategic reserves. Biden took the strategic reserves that I was filling up and he emptied them out now to the lowest point. Those reserves are meant for war, not to get people's gasoline prices down so they look good in an election. But he did that, and now so many things have been wrong. Even we mentioned before the supply chain. Who ever heard of a supply chain problem? You order something and you get it. Now you order something and they tell you you won't have it for years. You say, well, you won't have it for years. Nobody ever heard of it before. We've become somewhat of a third world country. I think success can bring us together, and I think we can have success. We have to have energy. Energy is a thing that caused inflation. When they closed up the energy, the cost of energy, the cost of a tank of gasoline, it went up to $5, $6, $7, $8 in some places. And it's still very high. And if you bring down the cost of energy and if you do some very basic things.
Get rid of the windmills.
The windmills.
That's why I didn't go to Coachella this year, because when you drive to Palm Springs, you got to see all the windmills. And ever since you said that,
looks like
it just pisses me off when I see all the windmills.
How about the old ones that are sitting there rusting and nobody wants to take them down? And they say you can't put the blades underground because it would be very bad. It's a type of fiber, and you can't bury it because it'll be bad for the environment if you bury it. So what are you going to do with it? Throw it up in the air?